I'm just going to sidetrack real quick, but in Austin, there was a guy in this protest, a peaceful protest, and this is what CNN's saying. The title was a peaceful protest. A peaceful protester was killed in Austin by a gunman. But this is what happened is that in this protest, this man was carrying a loaded AK-47. The protester was openly carrying an AK-47, walking down the street with the mob. They surround the car in the middle of the intersection. He gets on the hood, points the AK-47 through the windshield, and of course the driver, who happens to be a licensed carrier, is like,
my life's in danger right now.
I'm going to defend myself.
I have my Glock.
I'm surrounded by a mob, and I have someone pointing a loaded AK-47 into not just into my car, but into my face.
Right.
So this is a life or death situation.
Yep.
I'm against this because this is not a peaceful protest.
So what happens? Does he unload on the guy and kill him?
Yeah. So he fires 3 shots.
Yeah.
Which is actually amazing because if you looked at the video or pictures, it looks like there's at least 50 people surrounding his car. So that the fact that no one else got hit,
right. So he was actually controlled, and
he was very controlled. Right. He was making logic, and he called 911 after saying what happened because he didn't just drive off.
He was a responsible citizen.
But the headline was that the peaceful protester was killed by a gunman.
Yep, exactly. And which is the farthest thing from what happened. And what actually happened too after that, someone else in the crowd started unloading on the car. So he wasn't the only one carrying an open fire weapon.
Right.
And when you're I'm all for, and I'm all for Second Amendment rights.
Right.
I believe this guy probably had the AK legally. When you're in Texas, you can legally open carry
in a non-threatening manner.
You can do it legally. You can do it.
However, that does restrict you from carrying a loaded magazine inside of your AK-47 walking down the street
in a mob
or pointing at somebody.
So I think technically, if it was a loaded AK-47, he was not carrying it lawfully because he was doing it in a threatening manner.
Certainly, his pointing made it illegal.
Well, to open carry, I know you have to. You can have a magazine in the gun if it's completely unloaded, but I still don't recommend that because you might get shot. But you can carry a rifle, an assault rifle even. It's just you cannot have anything in the weapon. You can have a magazine on you. It can be near it. It just cannot be in the mag well.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, actually. But
that defines as a threatening manner.
I see.
So
if it's open, you can have one in your backpack, and there can be a mag in. That's fine. But if you're opening,
So he actually broke the law immediately when he had a loaded AK-47.
As far as I know, yeah.
So and real quick, whether he had a loaded AK-47 and whether that was legal or not, it's definitely illegal if you're pointing a weapon, whether you have a license or not. If you're abiding by the Second Amendment or not, if you point your weapon at another person, you are maybe you can, I don't know your legal things, but legally you are now have the intent to kill.
Yeah, so it's assault. Jumping on the hood of somebody's car with a loaded weapon is the definition of assault.
Exactly, and so he broke the law. This guy, the driver that's going, I mean, he's not going to have a problem, defending this case, but it's.
But that headline is the problem.
Yeah, the headline is the problem. Yeah.
And I asked the question about George Floyd because here's a situation.
Did I answer that, by the way?
You did.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
You did, because I was trying to get to this. I was trying to see where you stood because I wanted to see if this was true or not. Here's somebody, Jack Manhire, who felt deeply, because you shared with me at the time, I feel deeply about the death of George Floyd and how it's affecting my friends in the African-American community because it's affecting them. So I'm very sympathetic, maybe even empathetic with them on this. And yet, you, Jack Manhire, are not allowed to feel that way or express it publicly and at the same time say, and I don't think it's right for AK-47 boy to jump on the roof. No. You've got to accept it all.
Yeah.
And you had to remove the black square because the black square now no longer means George Floyd shouldn't have been killed. It now means I'm for AK-47s pointing into cars.
Yeah.
Burning.
And that's absolutely bonkers.
I think
absolutely bonkers.
I think what leads to this, and just this behavior in general, not just this specific case, is that we're so flooded with information and new updates, and I think that's what's leading to the presidency thing, is that everything's new all the time. So there's no, back in the 50s or even the 80s when you didn't really have this constant flow of information, you had more time to digest things, to kind of accumulate different things in your head to go, okay, well, I know they did this, I know they did this, and President whoever, they have all these great things that I've witnessed and heard and thought about while I've been going to bed or whatever. But now you get so much new information so quickly, the human brain just can't keep up with it, can't log it all, can't digest it all. So a lot of it is, I heard it, but then it's just out the other ear, and you can kind of remember it, but you don't really know how you feel about it. There hasn't been any time to process it. So it's whatever the newest thing is like their entire person, is like that defines them completely, because you don't have all this other evidence in your brain to go, well, yeah, there's this, but that against all this other data I have just doesn't stand up. But if that's the only data, or one of the only pieces of data you have, because that's all you're really collecting, because you're so flooded, you're going to jump to these conclusions of he's an idiot, or he's racist, or whatever you want to say. But I really do think that it's in big cause to the fact that we just have so much data coming at us at all times that we really don't remember it as somebody would before the internet, because you just don't have that digestion period. And then you also have so much diverse information where back then I think it was like, okay, it's the presidential year. The news is mainly on the president. Yeah, a new bakery opened or whatever, but a lot of this is on the campaigning, and maybe there's a new movie or whatever, and I saw that. But I'm primarily focused, and the whole world in America is primarily focused on the election. Where now it's, okay, the election's one side, but here's a million other things. This is what Kim Kardashian is doing. This is what Jay-Z is doing. This is, what's happening in Washington State. This is what's happening to your neighbor, whatever. That everything, you just don't have enough, places in your brain, for lack of a better word, to fit all of this and to be able to digest it appropriately. It's just kind of all gets, hodgepodged in your brain, and it's, the world's crap, and I know about 1% of everything I just read, but I really don't understand most of it, or pretty much all of it. So you're jumping to these very rash conclusions that just aren't accurate.
Which is why when the headlines say peaceful protester killed by gunman, it already is saying who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who should I be voting for, who should I say burn, or the other one, which was video giving false COVID information taken down, right? Okay, I don't need to know anymore. That told me everything I need to know.
I think,
and it's completely false.
Yeah. I think that is an unintended consequence or side effect of the of this whole thing, is that like soundbite culture and headline culture that we've all fallen into, is that I don't have enough time or room amongst all this other stuff to process or to read the entire article or to watch the hour-long, even 2-minute video. I need that 30-second or 5-second soundbite. I need that, just the headline, and then I just go, I know everything. And then I also think there's a pride element in it too, that is, I really think I did read the whole article, because that's all I really needed to know. And then you tell your friends, well, I read this article yesterday, and I'm guilty of this. I think we're all guilty of this.
Did you see the article where the peaceful protester was killed by the gunman?
And you just scrolled through your new Google or Apple News feed.
You're implying that you read it.
Exactly. Or you say, I did read it. I read it, and this is what what I know, because you don't want to sound stupid, and you want to sound eloquent and informed.
Or when you're in a conversation, you're like, man, these protests are kind of getting out of hand, and then your first thought, because this is all you know and all you've been exposed, just because you literally scroll through your news feed, is, well, hold on, there was a protester who was in a peaceful protest and he got killed in Texas by a gun.
Yeah, exactly. And you store that away is the whole story, because that's all you actually know. And then you move on to the other stuff, and then somebody brings up in a conversation a day or a week later, and you go, your brain goes, I know about that. Here's what I remember. And it's innocent gunman got shot in a protest. And you go, to your point, though, did you hear about the innocent protester that got shot? So I don't know if you're right about that, Jack. That kind of thing.
Right. And it happened in Texas, and my own biases about Texas are that these guys are just cowboys carrying around guns anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need better gun controls, or else that poor peaceful protester wouldn't be dead.
Yeah, and you never...
when it was...
I'm surprised. And I'm surprised no one is saying a word about gun control right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we now have one of their own, so to speak, with an AK-47.
Yeah, that's a really
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And babies are getting shot. Babies are getting shot.
Terrible. It's so bad.
Yes.
I mean, and we're talking. I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, we're talking younger than 10 years old.
Yes.
I mean, they're
sometimes younger than 5.
yeah, in strollers, started
Yes.
getting hit in
Yes.
stray bullets in Atlanta and Chicago, and it's really bad. But no one's talking about this. On the, I hate to say left and right, but it's so divided now where it really is. I think we're at a point where conservatives haven't took this approach yet, and they're starting to. And Donald Trump from the start started doing this. Is that the left's the enemy, guys? You know, and
Or at least the mainstream media, the left media is the enemy.
Yeah.
Yes, but yes, and just to finish a quick thought was that when you attack conservatives, most conservatives, and at least the ones that I've either talked to or listened to, they're secure with what they believe, you know. So they're not slamming people in a sense of like, we need to take out the left is destroying the country, where you can make very good evidence and supporting arguments that they are, you know, and they're not taking that approach,
Right?
Because and they're getting attacked, you know. I mean, it's literally, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you know, all these things that are very aggressive in attacking their identity and their beliefs, and they're kind of just taking the punches, you know. And
That's how I feel. I got to tell you, from a personal standpoint, it's always been, well, I know what I believe. I'm not swayed by them. You know, that's just the crazy left. And really it was just like, whatever. And I don't open when I worked for the government, it was, I had a friend who was a conservative, and we found out that each other were conservatives, kind of.
Yeah.
And they're
Secret club.
It was.
Yeah.
It was secret club. Like, you know, you just don't say too much,
Yeah.
you know, in meetings and stuff. And at the university level and academia, even at Texas A&M, which is more on the conservative side as of the campus, it's no different as far as the faculty and the staff go for the most part. And you just go, okay, you know, but I'm not being oppressed, at least, right? I'm not being oppressed. It's not popular. I get it. I'm okay with not being popular. Now
It's true oppression.
I'm saying, no, it's oppression, that we're under attack.
Yeah.
Certainly Christianity is under attack. And I would say people that maybe the two go together. But for the most part, they do. They don't always go together, but for the most part, they do. And you're being attacked. And my first thought is not to fight. Now, I will stand in front of the statue of the Virgin Mary with bolt cutters, and I'll defend that. And I'll defend my family if I have to. But I'm not going to go into the streets with signs, because that doesn't make any sense to me either. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get 70 acres of land somewhere and homestead and be ready when I have to hunker down and they can't find me.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that I'm the only one who's thinking like that.
No, you're not.
You're one. I
know.
Well, I mean, what does our extended family say? I mean,
And we haven't talked to them directly.
No.
We feel this way. They're like, hey, I think we should go get land all together. And it's like, oh, we were just thinking the same thing. Funny.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sure a lot of people that are Christians and on conservatives are starting to feel that way. And
that's a refuge mentality.
Yeah.
I need to create a refuge for myself and my family.
It is.
Because we're under attack.
Well, I think it's also funny because I'm sure all of those preppers are laughing their butts off right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'd have been like, I told you. You told me I was crazy. I told you.
Yep. Buy my new Pac-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
$129.
Yeah. But I do think, to your point about Christians and conservatives, and kind of my point of last podcast, is that I do think the reason that conservatives and Christians are so under fire is because we're pretty much the only ones going, hey, what, you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't be doing that, and it's not good for society.
It's moral judgment.
It's not good for the
John
rest
the
of us.
Baptist. We're saying you're committing a sin. You're doing something morally wrong.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
bad, right?
Exactly. Or it's bad for the economy, however you want to put it.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be morally. And I think they're going, how dare you tell me I'm doing something wrong?
We're not
I'm
validating.
Going to kill you.
Yeah.
And that's not even hyperbolic. It's literally, I'm going to kill you.
Yep.
Do you want to know just like what I see? And it kind of touches on something I really did see. Is that
absolutely.
So we're on this very divided part where we have people now carrying, and it's slowly escalating. And I even like told myself when this first started, when I first heard about like the riots and the looting, you know, and the violence that are coming out of these protests, I'm like, this is, everyone's going to be like, it's fine, the conservatives are like, we don't agree with this, but we're just going to let this one run out. I was like, until someone dies from a gunfire, because, and I didn't, to be honest, I didn't expect someone in a peaceful protest to be carrying AK-47s.
Yeah, I wouldn't classify that as a peaceful protest.
Definitely not. And I didn't expect it. And this is how I thought it was going to go down. I thought some crazy. I thought someone on the radical right was going to actually shoot someone.
The Unabomber kind of guy,
one of the radical rights that were going to just start
the militia guys.
They were like, we had enough. We see what's going on.
Right.
We're going to start going. We're going to go to war with these guys
before it
right.
starts.
We'll strike first.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's how I'm like. That's how I thought it was going to happen. But what I didn't expect is that on the other side, that the protests are now getting so violent that there's AK-47s in these protests.
Well, the thing is, I don't even think that they're bringing the AK. So I think like the driver has his concealed carry weapon or open carry weapon because he's like, I need to protect myself, and I need to protect my family.
By the way, if you're in Texas and you're carrying AK-47 and you intend to use it, be prepared to
be taken down.
Be prepared to meet another barrel at the end of that night. This is in Portland.
Exactly.
Right,
but I really do think a lot of these people that aren't carrying them, or especially that aren't concealed carrying them. I think there are people that open carry that are good people, but I do think a lot of it is, dude, it's cool to carry an AK-47 in this protest, and I can because this is the time. Just like
cops aren't going to stop me.
Exactly. Just like I can burn a cop car. I didn't really ever want to burn a cop car, but now that it's like socially acceptable, quote unquote, I'm going to burn a cop car because that sounds kind of fun, or that sounds kind of cool. Because when else am I going to have a chance to do this? Just like, when else am I going to be able to walk down the streets of Austin carrying a loaded AK-47 and people not care?
Yeah.
I think
they get so wrapped into it.
It's almost
they
like this power trip in a sense,
And this is why
they're reckless with it because they're not trained.
And they go, well, no one's going to mess with me, so I can just flaunt my AK, and then I'm going to start intimidating somebody, and I didn't actually expect somebody to shoot me in the face because I thought this was I thought we were on the same page here.
Right. We're all having fun, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Whoa, why are you firing at me?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is
they get so caught up in their movement, and I think
saw this in Call of Duty. This looks cool.
Yeah.
Real quick. Something similar actually happened in, I want to say it was the Portland riots, but I could be wrong. It happened in one of the riots that just happened. Where people were breaking the cop cars and stealing kids. I mean, like probably 15-year-olds, maybe 15 to like 20-year-olds, stealing like their officers, like carbines, like their M4s, out of cars, and just walking around with them like. And they're the kind of people that the stunt culture looking kind of people. They got like the Gucci bandana or whatever, and you can tell they're like, yeah, guys, I got my M4. And then this Marine that was on a former Marine that was on a security detail for some news company, and he was carrying. Ran up to them out of nowhere. There's some really cool like spine chilling videos of this, like just because like, oh, that's awesome. Of him running up to these people and just scream like this real Marine looking dude, like big dude, like this guy's gonna mess me up. Shaved head, big beard, jacked. Runs up to him to scream at him, drop the weapon, puts the Glock in their face, and like, oh my gosh, because they weren't, and they didn't have time to think about what should I do with this. It was this immediate fear of, I didn't think anybody was going to do this to me. I was just like, now's the time to get a free M4 or to carry an M4. Cool, man, I'm gonna get an M4, and then there's immediate repercussion, and then you're scared because you didn't think anything was going to happen. But I do think this is happening around the country where there's this kind of idea that everything goes now, so I'm gonna do all the things that sound cool that were socially
like the Purge.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the Purge. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even want to kill somebody, but
I haven't even seen that movie.
Yeah,
but I know it's like the Purge.
Yeah, and it's the, it's I think it's lighthearted. You could slowly start seeing. Okay, this is getting a little out of hand. This is getting a little dangerous, but I'm not running for the hills yet. You know, this is still America. This isn't, this is happening, but it's not. This isn't directly happening, to me yet. But when I read and looked into this, this Austin situation,
right.
that and then what the media was saying about it, I'm like. Okay, this is getting bad. This is getting.
Is that your point? Like, not the hills might be the place now.
Yeah,
I've been saying this for 10 years.
Yeah. So like, how does it? So
Well, we would thought you were a crazy prepper.
Yeah, exactly. And now you're all like, how much does a year cost?
For real, we are doing that. Like, Will, Hannah, tell us how much. How do we set up solar panels?
and we are just blessed to have a very strong faith, and we're very we go with the flow very well, and
A strong family too.
Yeah, and we all believe that we're just going to be okay as as people, but if you stepped out of that, and at the end of the day, that's how I feel too. I'm like, you know what, the world's going to shit. It doesn't matter because I believe in heaven. So sorry guys.
The worst that can happen is I die, and that's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm secured in that because that's just truly what I believe. And but if I didn't have that belief, I'd be pretty concerned because
my whole livelihood's gone.
I was going,
my entire existence is at risk.
I was going, everything is now at risk, and what's going to happen?
And most of America has got to be living in fear. Because I can't believe
most of the world. I think a lot of us also look up to America as like, well, they're the leaders. Yep. What are they doing? They're going to crap. I think it's like Rome. Back, at the fall of Rome, where they were just like the ultimate superpower in the world, and everybody was looking to them. And then as they started falling, I was like, "Oh crap, what's going to happen now?" Yeah.
Well, I wrote this in
because they're the only ones protecting us from Russia invading Afghanistan, and all those things that happened back in like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
So if we're not,
Israel's got to be wetting their pants.
Yeah. If the world police is gone, which I have mixed opinions on, but if the world police is gone, who's going to protect us from the actual communists and all of them? So
yeah, and you think about this, you're like, okay, America, it's going down. We're suffering. And unfortunately, the left is. They're doing it, and they're openly saying we want to change America. We want to rewrite history. We want to take down
rid of that Constitution. We don't
get rid of the Constitution. Let's Let's look through all the amendments. Let's take everyone that was involved at all in our history.
They're racist.
All products.
Burn the statues.
Well,
take them down.
That's what's happening with the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
They're threatening to.
Yeah.
They are threatening to
destroy it.
Yeah, destroy it. And they're thinking about the same thing with the Lincoln Memorial. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Lincoln Memorial is getting graffitied like as we speak. I mean, like I think there's graffiti on it as we speak.
There is already.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that happened like a week or two ago.
That's so 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm late.
We're exponentially
but yeah, there's
stuff right now.
But I mean, if you told somebody after World War II or even 10 years ago that like people are going to want to take down the Washington Monument or not the monuments of America, that represent
Democrats would have been like, you're absolutely crazy.
You're absolutely insane. Nobody would do that to America unless that Red Dawn happened.
Yeah,
like who's they that's doing this?
It's going to be the outside.
It's you guys. Like the liberals are going to be doing this, or whoever you're talking to, and like it's going to be these radical movements that are saying we need to destroy America. That they're going to be, there's no way.
Yeah.
No way inside of America that's going to happen unless it's like the Taliban that planted some sleeper cells inside of us.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're just normal people that are like want to blow stuff up now.
Yeah.
Part of the oath that you take, and I had to take this oath when I was in the federal government, but you take it as when you get your commission or if you are the president of the United States, it's you promise to protect the Constitution and defend it against all its enemies, foreign and domestic. And yeah, until now, I read that as, okay, the Timothy McVeigh, that one crazy guy that ran the truck in Oklahoma City, that Michigan group that is, planning on
the Chicago neo-Nazis,
the Unabomber, the fringe group, right? But I always thought, no, it's the foreign enemy. That's the one that you're going to do.
Yeah.
And,
Russia, China.
But now the domestic
North
enemy is unfortunately getting to the point where you're worried about, at least, is it my neighbor?
Yeah. Well,
is it my neighbor? And they're wondering, is it me?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't even think it's that big of a wonder anymore, because I think our neighbors are more on the internet than they are our actual neighbors nowadays. So it really is. I think it's kind of the opposite in a sense, or at least more extreme than that, is that I can't say anything because it's everybody but me.
That's true.
And there's just like the IRS thing, like, who's my secret group of people that I can confide in? Because if I say it's to the wrong person, I might lose my job. I might end up dead. I don't know what's going to happen to me. And so
That's
I
so
really
true.
think it's like Big Brother in like 1984, where it's like I have to go run off into the woods and have these conversations away from my TV,
Yeah.
because that looking screen,
Yeah.
the thought police are gonna be at my door the next second if I say anything.
That's why I'm so-
I gotta act normal.
that's
act
why I'm
normal,
so
do
glad-
your dance, do your dance.
We can come here in this room and just the three of us talk without
Yeah.
worrying about anybody else overhearing us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The perfect. Yeah, it's never gonna leave this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Ooh. The government will not be listening to this.
Yeah.
The NSA does not have access to these frequencies.
But if they do, we love you.
Yeah,
We love
exactly.
you.
Yeah, we I bend my knee to you. Yeah,
And Google, YouTube. You
Yeah,
guys are
you're the
great.
best. You're the best. I agree with everything you're doing.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Can I pay you?
Yes. Right.